Good morning. Today we're going to look at another coin pusher called The Price is Right. Let's go over and take a look. I've removed the glass here so you can get a better look. Now, this is where your coins are going to drop down to, is in this mechanism here. And what I'm going to do is remove this front door area here to show you the sensor that's on this coin slot. Not all pushers are the same. Some do have a sensor on this coin trough, if you will, and that way the game knows when to turn on. In other cases, some coin pushers simply rely upon these little switches here to let the game know it's been turned on. So we'll just go back here. And I'm just going to remove the door. This is the coin door here. And what's going on here is there's the slot and that's the sensor. That's the connector. So I'll very carefully unplug this and then we'll take a look at the sensor here. So what happens is, as the quarter travels down, it's got to go through that little slot there. I'm just going to put this down here and put some light on the situation. There. And there it is. So you can see an aperture, a little bit of light through there. So the quarter passes through there, and that's how the sensor sees it. And that's the connector. So as you can see, because this sensor is on a moving slide, eventually the sensor gets damaged or the wires break and have to be replaced. I'm just going to put this down here. So we have your typical switch matrix here, as you can see. And I can push on these switches all I want right now. I'll drop a quarter down and nothing should happen. And why is that? That's because the machine needed to see a pulse from that coin trough to let it know to turn on. And since it didn't see a pulse, none of these switches are active and the coin counter down here is not functioning. I'm just going to open this door here so we can take a look inside this front counter. Sorry. Okay, there's your speaker. This is where we do all the programming. I have to admit, this is acceptable. This is okay to do. I like discrete programming displays as opposed to messing around with LED displays. Here we have our typical ticket machine, you know. That's our ticket trough, and this is our coin counter. Now, I want to stress, not all coin counters are the same. They come in different sizes and shapes, depending upon where they're situated in the equipment. And you see this little spring here? That serves a very important function. That is, it prevents the quarters from getting stuck together or hung up. As this trough moves, you'll see that it pushes the quarters apart and keeps them separated, and it just keeps the machine from jamming up. In fact, let's throw a few quarters in there and see what happens. Now, for me, to activate this, I have to put the door back on and activate the switch. So I'll just put this back here.
Afraid of a little ball?
Please ignore that. Okay. Now I'm going to replace the door temporarily, just for the demonstration purpose. Hope it doesn't get wrong. Okay, so we have our door in place. Just tilt you down here. Hopefully this thing doesn't fall apart. right? Okay, so there's some quarters in there in the counter. I'm gonna put a quarter in here. Now it's spitting out all the quarters right now because it's not situated over the coin box. So there's the slot where it would normally spit the quarters down into. I'll do it again. We put a quarter in the slot. And as I said, depending how many switches you hit, that depends on the ticket payout as well as how many quarters get pushed off the shelf into the counter itself. Okay, now let's take a look at the back here. Okay, this is the back of the machine. That's the motor, and these are the oscillating shelves. Again, most pushers use the same configuration. It's a time-proven design. This is the back of the switch matrix on both stations. That's a tilt sensor, and we set that so if you shake the machine and this touches, then you will lose your points. And down here is the main circuit board. And we're in the process of just slowly but surely cleaning this up and getting everything ready for the season. One of the things is because we do like to leave the machines on during the cold season rather than let them freeze, you do find that certain types of insects gravitate towards a warm environment. So it's not uncommon to find spider webs down here. Now let's go up here. Now, on the front is this display here. What I've decided to do is open it up and show you what's inside. Take our cover off, and there's the back of the points unit. There's our motor. There's some pretty LED lights. And what happens is, you know, and like anything, this thing gets out of whack like anything and needs a little bit of love and adjustment and a bit of cleaning. But overall, it's been pretty good. There really isn't anything in here that can jam that motor. And in my experiences, when you have potentials for motor jams, you get them, and that always ends up destroying your motors. In this case, we haven't had to replace them at all because we don't have that nasty potential. This is the back up here. There's really nothing in here to see except just light bulbs. So we'll just go around to the front. And the typical problems with this machine is, as I said, because these are mechanical switches, eventually they do go. And occasionally we get jams up here, and we have to open this up and polish it with a wax to keep it nice and smooth. And as I said before, occasionally, you know, as time goes by, these need a little bit of tweaking to make sure that they always fall on the right spot. Down here, well, occasionally you might get the odd coin jams, but I have to admit, these are pretty good. These are pretty good for that, avoiding coin jams. Same with ticket jams, nothing special there. Very quick, easy to remove. Like that, and then you can just click it back on, no problem. There's another switch. And we'll just put that back in. Once again, I want to thank everybody for their time, interest, and very kind remarks. Thank all of you, and have a good one. Cheers.